The warm late spring air settled over Brookside, a close-knit town where everyone knew everyone, until a shocking event on May 17, 1971 shattered that calm. That day, the mysterious vanishing of Ava Parker and Mia Thompson, two best friends who symbolized the town's vibrant youth, changed everything. Ava, 19, was the daughter of local teacher Linda Parker, admired for her sharp mind and dreams of becoming a reporter, always seen with a small notebook in hand jotting down thoughts about her hometown. Mia, 18, was quieter and more reserved, working part-time at her father's hardware store while planning to start community college in the fall. Their morning had started off like any other. Linda recalled how Ava left early that day, mentioning she would meet Mia at the neighborhood cafe. By midday, when neither returned home, a wave of worry spread quickly through the winding streets of Brookside. Sheriff Mark Daniels, a seasoned officer with 20 years on the job, was the first to act. He sensed something was off and told his deputy, Kevin Brooks, that they had to look into it immediately. The search began in an organized fashion, with teams checking favorite hangouts, talking to local shop owners, and retracing the girl's last steps. As hours turned into days, the initial concern deepened into something more ominous. Volunteers, equipped with flashlights and accompanied by their dogs, scoured nearby woods, farmlands, and deserted buildings, driven by a growing sense of urgency. The town's calm exterior slowly gave way to a raw, collective fear. Rumors started flying around. Some folks mentioned a wanderer seen near town a few weeks back, while others recalled odd happenings like an unfamiliar car spotted on remote roads and strange noises in the night. The local grapevine churned out theories that grew more detailed with every passing day. Soon, suspicion quickly fell on one man, Edward Davis, a reclusive farmer living on the outskirts of Brookside in his mid-50s. Known for his solitary nature and minor run-ins with neighbors over property lines, he became the prime person of interest. Sheriff Daniels brought Edward in for questioning. During a tense interrogation, Edward remained calm and produced a verified alibi based on work at his farm, confirmed by nearby farmers. Despite the intense grilling, nothing directly connected him to the disappearance of Ava and Mia. Both families experienced the uncertainty in different ways. Linda Parker was overwhelmed by grief and hope in equal measure, spending countless hours by her window as if expecting to see her daughter return. Meanwhile, Mia's parents, the Thompsons, took a more active role, plastering the town and its outskirts with missing person flyers. Weeks turned into months, and the investigation began to lose steam. Although the FBI had stepped in briefly, they eventually pulled back. Search efforts grew less frequent, and the spark of hope started to fade. Brookside was forced to live with a lingering emptiness beneath the surface of everyday life. By 1972, the case had gone cold. Ava and Mia became a somber legend, a cautionary tale that parents whispered to their children about the hidden dangers beyond the town's familiar borders. Years went by. Old investigators retired. Residents grew older, yet the mystery remained, a collective wound that never fully healed. Younger generations knew the tale, but regarded it as a distant echo, a tragedy of another era. In conversations at local diners and barbershops, the story of the disappearance was always brought up in hushed tones, an unanswered question that continued to haunt Brookside. Then, 40 years later, an unexpected discovery breathed fresh life into the long-dormant mystery. In a far-off scrapyard, a worn-out Chevrolet Impala sat quietly, harboring secrets that would soon unravel the old case. The yard resembled a metal graveyard, with rows of rusted cars standing as mute witnesses to decades of history. Ray Martin, a retired mechanic with a passion for restoring old vehicles, roamed among them. His rough, experienced hands traced the curves of each car, each one holding memories of bygone days. Now 68, Ray had found solace in his work after losing his wife 5 years earlier, finding comfort in reviving these forgotten machines. That day, something felt different as he came across a 1969 Chevrolet Impala. A jolt ran through him as he examined the car. Its midnight blue paint still clung to hints of its former glory despite years of neglect. As he ran his hand along the fender, he noticed a series of light scratches near the trunk, as if someone had tried hard to leave a mark. "There's something not right about you," he murmured, speaking more to himself than to the car. With practiced ease, Ray opened the trunk. A musty scent of old fabric and something even older filled the air. Buried under layers of dust were items that immediately caught his eye: a worn leather journal, several faded photographs, and a bundle of clothing that looked decades old. The photographs, in black and white, featured two young women, one with a determined smile that hinted at ambition, and the other, more reserved yet striking in her own way. Their faces stirred up memories from long ago. The names Ava Parker and Mia Thompson echoed in Ray's mind as he pieced together fragments of a long-forgotten mystery. He recalled the tense summer of 1971, the rumors that swirled around town, and the heartache of two families torn apart by an unsolved disappearance. The clothing, carefully kept, a torn blue blouse and muddy-edged jeans, seemed to carry silent clues waiting to be uncovered. Ray hesitated, realizing these items weren't random. They were evidence. Trusting his instincts, he decided to act. Within hours, he found himself in a meeting with Detective Jessica Lee at the Brookside Police Department, where he laid out the mysterious findings. Detective Lee, maintaining a calm, yet curious air, asked, "Where did you find all this?" Ray explained about the scrapyard, the Impala, and how he had carefully preserved every piece. As she examined the photographs, Detective Lee cautioned, "These might mean nothing, or they could be a major breakthrough." She arranged for forensic tests, noting that modern DNA analysis, technology unimaginable back in 1971, might finally unlock the secrets hidden for decades. A week later, the results confirmed that the clothing contained an exact DNA match to both Ava and Mia. Instantly, the cold case that had haunted Brookside for 40 years was revived. Investigators re-examined old witness accounts, planned new searches, and even refocused their attention on the long-deceased Edward Davis. For Ray, this discovery was more than just solving a puzzle. It was about giving closure to a town that had suffered for decades. The Chevrolet Impala, once merely another abandoned car, had now become a tangible link between the past and the present. As news of the breakthrough spread around Brookside, whispers turned into open discussions. The aging families of Ava and Mia clung to a fragile hope. Perhaps the darkness that had shrouded their lives was finally lifting. Yet, even as things began to look up, the most startling revelation was still to come. In the fading afternoon light, long shadows stretched across Edward Davis's abandoned farm as Detective Lee and Ray Martin meticulously searched an old barn. Dust danced in the warm light over stacks of forgotten crates and rusted farm tools. With careful steps, Ray moved through the barn until he discovered a yellowed envelope wedged between a broken beam and an old toolbox. Detective Lee gently retrieved the fragile letter, its paper crackling as she unfolded it. Written in Ava's neat, slightly trembling handwriting, the note was dated just days after the girls had vanished. It began, "Dear Mom and Dad, if you're reading this, it means we found a way out. Edward Davis tried to hold us captive, but Mia managed to open the cellar door. We're scared, but we're together and we're going to get help." The message was a powerful revelation. It showed that the girls hadn't been helpless victims. They had fought back for their freedom. Ray leaned in, his voice catching as he whispered, "They got away." The forensic team carefully processed the letter and its surroundings, confirming through DNA and trace evidence that the handwriting and materials matched those found in the Impala. Yet one crucial question lingered. What became of Ava and Mia after they escaped? News of the breakthrough spread rapidly through Brookside. At the local cafe, where generations had once shared meals and stories, animated conversations filled the air once again. Karen Thompson, Mia's elderly mother, listened tearfully as her brother read the letter aloud, her face marked by both sorrow and pride. "They were so brave," she murmured softly. In the weeks that followed, investigators pursued new leads, though clues about the girls' final fate remained frustratingly scarce. Despite satellite scans, historical documents, and thorough searches, the ultimate outcome of their escape stayed a mystery. They had vanished like shadows, leaving behind only fragments of their tale. Ray found himself more drawn to the mystery than ever. The 1969 Chevrolet Impala, now a well-preserved time capsule of evidence, came to symbolize hope, resilience, and a story that was only half complete. At a town hall meeting in Brookside, Detective Lee laid out the latest findings. While we can't say for sure what happened to Ava and Mia after they broke free, we now know they weren't just helpless victims. They fought, and they survived for a while. Her words stirred a mix of relief, lingering grief, and cautious optimism among the residents. For the families who had carried this unsolved tragedy for 40 long years, there was finally a spark of courage and a step toward closure. For Ray, this entire journey held deep personal meaning. The mechanic who had devoted his life to reviving forgotten cars had, in a way, helped revive a nearly lost story. The Impala, once just another discarded relic, had transformed into a beacon of truth. As autumn settled over Brookside, the town began its slow healing process. The mystery was not entirely solved, but the overwhelming darkness had started to recede. Ava and Mia were no longer remembered solely as missing persons. They were celebrated as survivors. A small exhibit was set up in the local museum, with the Chevrolet Impala as its centerpiece, surrounded by photos, the recovered letter, and mementos that told a tale of unexpected courage. A plaque read, "Sometimes hope is found in the fragments we leave behind." The story of Ava and Mia continued to echo through Brookside, a tribute to the human spirit's enduring ability to fight, hope, and overcome against all odds. Ray often visited the museum, standing before the Impala and recalling how one unexpected discovery had illuminated a darkness that had lasted for decades. Even though the complete truth might never be known, the town had found something invaluable, the enduring reminder that even in the toughest times, resilience can prevail.